Look back at Formula One schedules of old showed quite a variety of tracks. Circuits could be fast and flowing, tight and technical, long and grueling, and even short and claustrophobic. Today's race harkens back to that last one. Summit Point Raceway may not have ever seen real Formula One cars, but it will feel like it fits this machinery perfectly. With so much talent crammed onto a tiny little track, will it all boil over? We'll find out soon as we get ready to watch round 10 of the Lotus 79 Sunday Grand Prix Series, and you'll see it all live here on the Global SimRacing Channel. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is Ossian Puhaka. Behind the scenes is our director, Sean Crackers Ambrose, and is using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Summit Point isn't exactly the most famous of American circuits. In fact, it's been decades since it saw a major series visit. So to help out those who are new here, let's head down to our track guide. Actually, two entirely separate circuits that can be tackled here on the iRacing service. The main circuit is just shy of 2 miles in length, including 10 turns, and can be chopped off into the short version, which has 9 turns and only 1.5 miles for a lap. The Jefferson circuit is its own 1.1 mile piece of pavement with a mere 7 turns and uniquely can be run in reverse. Both tracks are astonishingly narrow and provide quite a technical challenge. On the main course, the most popular place to pass is down into the first corner hairpin. While some drivers may try a brave dive into turn 5, the frighteningly fast-kinked entry makes it prone to things going wrong quickly. Between there and turn 9, it's essentially a single-file affair with nothing but tight and twisty bends snaking their way around. The Jefferson circuit isn't used as often, and because there are a few straights long enough to get a run on someone, most drivers are forced to wait for a mistake to pounce on. Otherwise, qualifying will be key. Believe it or not, IMSA's GT class raced here in the late 80s, and even Can-Am stopped in back in 86. While it probably sees much more competition here in the virtual world, it's easy to see why plenty of real drivers love to take their vehicles out to try and tackle this historic Appalachian venue. Well, Summit Point Raceway, it's gone through a lot of changes since this scan here that they have on iRacing. But Ozzy, I'd have to say that this is another one of those tracks that anybody who's earned their stripes on the roadside on iRacing probably knows like the back of their hand.
Yeah, Joe, absolutely. So I remember first doing races here in Mazda MX-5 and then later on moving on to Skippies and going up the ladder. And it's always been a tear and it's always been a stalwart. And it's a great track for learning your stripe zone because you get every kind of corner bunched into the 3.2 kilometer, 2 mile length. 10 turns, each one quite different. The last one reminding me of last turn at Lima Park, for example. But with these Lotus 79 cars, I don't know, it's going to be a little bit small feeling. As you said, a little bit claustrophobic, but I hope it can provide a good race in a sense that it can provide tight racing and tight packs and maybe even some overtaking opportunities.
Will elicit some mistakes, that's for sure. Even with the talent that we've got here, it's going to be tough. Now, let's take a look at the Drivers' Championship because it continues to get interesting. Simone, with a win last week, has himself up at second place, but is only 16 points behind Alex Millward, who continues to struggle to try and find the speed over Simone, even though he did give himself a podium last week. Now, of course, behind them, if you look farther down, you can see Vascolampi, Frisha, Rasimas. Gernot probably the biggest surprise in there, sitting in fourth, and Rasimas is in fifth. I know our graphic says third 2 times there, but it's a little bit spread out behind them. It's starting to become a 2-horse race, and we'll see whether or not Alex can hold off Tomas in these final few rounds. What about the CTC teams standing in this series, Ozzy?
Well, it's what looks in the graphics as Parmalat Racing Team. Reality, it's Brabham in the lead with that one. Vaskilampi Costa Herner driving for that ahead of Tyrrell. Candy Team Tyrrell with Bauman, Rasimas, and Hebron. Williams rounding out the top 3 with Milward, Hall, Simon, and then Arrows in 4th place, Felicia Rolleveld Banker, and Team Essex Lotus with Thomas Thorpe, Barry West, and Hector Basilias in that team. So still pretty tight up front, but not as tight as the driver standings, I'm afraid.
Earlier, I mentioned we might have viewers who aren't familiar with this place, and if you aren't, I assume you're probably not familiar with iRacing in general or this series. So let's go over the race details. We are in round 10 out of a 13 race season, and it is going to be 42 laps. So quite a few laps around here for the series, just because they go by so quickly. It is open setup in this series, which basically means anything that you could do on the real Lotus 79, the drivers here in the sim can tweak here on iRacing. And then they have penalties such as a drive-through at 17 incidents, and 25 means a complete disqualification from the race. Hopefully we won't get too many drivers that suffer those penalties, and we get a clean race today. Also, we want to remind you, you can advertise with us. GSRC offers a wealth of options to help you get your branding seen on a platform with over 1 million monthly impressions. If your organization is looking for a global audience to advertise with, look no further than GSRC. Follow the link in the description below to learn more. Qualifying is underway. We got a mix of cars who've put laps in, a mix of cars who are just about finished, and some who haven't even started. It just happened so quickly here that you kind of have some time to try and get out there. Bycroft is our provisional pole sitter, and Tomas Simone just took his second lap, which is 2 1,000ths off of the pole. Rinna, though, look at this. He is only 14 more thousandths back from them. In fact, the top 4 are all within half a tenth of a second.
Yeah, and could be getting even closer as we are watching Chris Bauman get across the line. Alex Milward is also on his first flying lap, the championship leader, mind you. Let's see which version of Alex Milward we do get today. Is it the winner or is it the guy who struggles? He comes across the line for his first lap here, 101.3, and he gets 5th place for his troubles. Still 1 lap to go, and my surprise of the top 5 so far, look at number 22, Joe. Pauli Partanen in 4th place. Wow.
Yeah, I'd say he is overachieving today, at least in terms of his I rating. Let's see if he can hold it up in terms of the race, though. So we've got Freisha coming across for his second lap. Good enough for 6th. He hasn't had the best of seasons compared to the past. He goes quicker by 0.2, and that's actually good enough for pole. This changes the game right here.
Yeah, amazing lap from the old champion, the Red Baron, Rottekamflieger, Gernot Fritsch showing his fangs out there once again. Jamie Hall coming across the line, not a good lap for him. He'll start his second. Chris Bauman as well coming across the line. Let's see if he can improve. 101.4. He can improve, but that's only good enough for 7th place. Alex Milward here. Let's see, is this the pole lap for Milward? No, it isn't. He improves, but not in position, so he's going to be starting pretty much in the top end of the midfield.
So I think that really leaves Jamie Hall yet to set a time. So Jamie is sitting at the back of the pack, and this is horrible news for him, especially after the 2nd place finish we saw at Montreal last week, really pushing Simone all the way to the end. If he has to start from the back of the track where it's known for being extremely tough to pass, it's going to be a bit of a nightmare for him. We already saw that yesterday with the Camel Series. Cy Andre putting himself in a really horrible position. Is Hall going to experience that today? What's he got as he crosses the line? A 101.2. That's going to put him up to 4th. That looks a lot more representative. And I believe he should have enough time to try and get around for his 2nd lap.
He does, yeah. He's starting his 2nd lap right now. He's waiting all the way to the end. As we are watching the 2nd lap, we should actually, since we can watch it, just analyze it a little bit. Coming to turn 3 here, really fast corner, going a little too sideways. He missed the entry there. And then into turn number 4, downhill right-hander, braking zone for turn 5, always difficult. Let's see if he can nail it. That's pretty close to perfect. Getting a good exit as well. Not tracking wide out there like many rookies do. It's a rookie mistake there. tight flowing section. 6 and 7. Getting prepared for 8. Should be a flat out corner with the right line. He had to brake just a little bit or lift off just a little bit on the entry. Gets a decent exit and then into the final corner. Fast right-hander coming down the hill, nailing the apex. Gonna track out wide. No, he's not. He stays within the curbs and 10 to the line. I don't think he can improve, but he could prove me wrong here. No, 101.5, and that's not an improvement. 3/10 slower.
All right, but that still means he will start on the second row. Our qualifying is finished. It is tight today. Let's go through that starting order with Gernot Frische on the pole. Steve Bycroft starts next to him in second, and Tomas Simon will start in third. Millward P4 with Oscar Rinn in fifth, and Pauli Kalevi Partanen starting P6 with Alex Millward in seventh. All of those cars are separated by 1/10, just about. Chris Baumann starts eighth today, and Thomas Torp will be P9. Juan Costa rounds out your top 10.
Mike Rasimas 11th today, just ahead of Rick Tenkade, who's only 12th, known for being a good qualifier. Martin Gromberg 13th, Carl Villeneuve 14th, 10 in row number 8, Severi Seppa and Paul Williams. Tapani Linnaluoto coming back only 17th. He's going to be doing a lot of overtaking today. Lotus 49 legend Uwe Trengeride 18th, Derek Rollevelt 19th, and Dylan Freckleton rounding out your top 20.
I'm glad to see you back. Pekka Kalahara is here with Barry West next to him. You've got Timothy Reed starting 23rd and Nacho Gaspar in 24th. Last driver to get a time in is Etu Vainio Kangas in 25th. Got to get that one right. And Kitty Ingstrom did not set a time. So going to be a tough day for him as the rest of the cars start to grid up. Let's see what we've got in store for ourselves today. Interestingly, we do not have Timu Vaskalampi with us, who sits third in the points. So he's going to be set a little bit farther back in the championship after this, as now we wait for Kitty Ingstrom to put himself on the grid. The engines start to rev. Lights are up. Green flag is out, and Frische is off. It's a decent start for him. Behind him, it looks like Simone already trying to challenge on Bycroft, who's starting to pull up on Frische as they come up to the first corner. Can he go the long way around? They're getting awful tight in there. They manage not to hit, but oh, he gets turned around. Simone is off track, and I think that was Millward that got him.
No, Jamie Hall.
It's Hall, you're right. Jamie Hall, who just clipped him. A few cars having to take avoiding action from the stack up that caused. Little off for Chris Baumann as they come off of Wagon Wheel. Now they plunge down into Yard Sale Corner, turn 5, where things tend to go wrong once again. Is everybody going to be able to keep it safe? So far, so good. Looks like everybody's through turn 5.
It is, and what a start for Alex Millward. He went from 7th to 4th. Partanen losing out, and Juan Costa as well involved right behind the top 5. It looks clean apart from that turn 1 incident, so everybody's making it through. Trengeride and Vainiokangas in a bit of a battle actually back there, heading into the last corner. Let's see if Eetu can make a pass here. He's been charging through the field into the last corner. Not quite. Trengeride gonna pull one off, and side by side for the lead.
Yeah, that is Bycroft around the outside. I think he's got less wing in that car because he closed in the second half of the start, going wide. Frische now under attack from Oscar Rinna. It looks like he might be able to get by, but is on the outside coming up into the Wagon Wheel. This is a hard one to pull off, but he's deep on the brakes, and he does get it. Oscar gets himself into second.
And Millward is challenging Frische now. Frische really under attack there after that pass from Bycroft. Rinne, a great move around the outside into turn number 3. Many people say that you can't overtake in turn number 3. You can't go side by side. That's just wrong. And Rinne proved them wrong. Great driving by them both.
Bycroft loving that little fight because that gave him a lot of gap over Rinne as he pulls out to about a second ahead. He's in the bright yellow machine you can see up at the front, with Rinne giving chase as they come to the line once again. Frische just not doing well here at the start. Wonder if the car is going to come in a little bit later, as it is a very hot track here today at 118 degrees Fahrenheit. Millward not taking a look down into the hairpin this lap.
No, it's not 48 degrees Celsius track temp. That's really on the upper end of echelon as far as track temps go. Really hot day, and that's gonna affect a lot of drivers. Now it's been calming down a little bit in the top 3 with Bycroft pulling away, Rinne trying to catch him up, and Fritzsche playing the waiting game ahead of Alex Milborn. And so we should go to a replay of the start and that's where you're gonna see the probably championship changing situation between Tomas Simon and Jamie Hall, who's gonna be here. So Tomas is gonna be on the outside, I think, changing his line just a little bit on the start. Yeah, taking the optimal racing line, braking early, and Hall's just gonna hit him mid-corner. Yeah, Hall just didn't brake enough, and even Hall got a little bit of a contact tear. So that was just a little bit clumsy from Jamie Hall. I think he was trying to get as close as possible and just overcook his braking. Thankfully, no major damage for Tomas, and he's going to be back on track.
Figure out who that was that went off track to the inside there as we come back live to Simone, who currently sits, in 25th. He had gained a couple spots. Did he recently have an issue? I'm checking real quick to see if he had another. Yeah, he did. He had some contact with Nacho Gaspar. So unfortunately, we don't have a replay. We'll get back to that later. Third place, Fritzsche. Did he get this back from Millward? Or I think, no, he was still ahead of Millward earlier. So
yeah, he was.
Still pressuring him.
Yeah, so Alex Milward here, we jump on board, going very dancey, very sideways as per usual. He's really fighting this car around, reminiscent of what the real-life drivers did a lot back in the day, of course. The real Lotus 79 guys, Mario Andretti and even Ronnie Peterson, who was known as a hard charger, didn't have to bring it around too much. That's how overpowered the car was back in 1978. But later on in the ground effects era, you saw a lot of drivers, most famously Gilles Villeneuve and Keke Rosberg, fighting their cars around. Alex Milborg certainly picking up the medal with Pauli Partanen right behind them, looking on, as well as Juan Costa and Chris Bum.
Up through wagon wheel once again. A little bit of a tidier line from Millward this time. As we saw a few laps ago, he went off. The laps are ticking off quite quick as they plunge it into the back half of the course. Whoa! Big snap from Millward that he somehow saves.
Yeah, he lost the back end there a little bit on the exit of the corner. It's so bumpy there, it's hard to keep consistent, but he saved it quite nicely. Good hands there from Alex and keeping going. Lost a bit of time to Gernot, however.
Up and out of Paddock Bend onto the front stretch. We really want that good exit down towards turn 1. Behind him, Partanen is starting up because Juan Costa is closing in and putting a bit of pressure on that red number 22 himself. Partanen, though, remember, that 22 is, according to his iRating, how he compares in terms of overall skill to this field, still doing very good, sitting 5th right now.
Yeah, and Costa making a little bit of a mistake in turn number 3, going a little bit wide. That's gonna potentially damage his underbody, not losing too much time, but yeah. And Fredrik Tenkade had a problem back there as well. Let's see, he's going way back, and he was slowing. That's turn number 3, yeah. Oh no, extra turn number 1. And just spinning out, yeah, turn number 3, spinning out on the entry, hitting the wall, and that's gonna be way back in the field.
And then suddenly I had to cough and had to get off the mic. But yeah, I think from what it looked like on board there, he just touched the grass on the outside, the way that thing spun so quickly and just spat him into the wall. He is now down to last on the field. Kitty Engstrom appears to have not taken the start of this race. Is now behind Tomas Simon, who's still struggling behind a whole train of cars.
Yeah,
Meanwhile our leader up front, is now starting to be closed in by Rinne. Remember, it was about a second after the first 2 laps. Well, it's down to half a second.
Yeah, that's where I was getting. Nice stereo moment there, Joe. That's where I was getting as well. Bycroft being caught up by Rinne, who's been really charging last couple of laps, being 10th faster consistently. And as a result of that, it's now only half a second away, and that's in the draft range. So the draft range is about 6/10 away in the main straight. He's gonna need an almighty exit from the last corner. Not easy to do, but Bycroft missing the apex there. And as a result of that, Rinne not have a chance this lap, but he's getting closer.
All right, we've got Simone in another big wreck with multiple cars involved in this one. Looks like also Timothy Reed and Severi Seppa found themselves getting damaged. this happens into yard sale.
Yeah, so Timothy Reed is just going to be slow on the apex, trying to get past Barry West, and yeah, Tomas just cluttered into the back of him. Then the effect will have Severi Seppa going wide as well, avoiding that incident pretty well, but Tomas Simon losing a lot of time and going on two wheels as well.
Simone has exited the race. Wow. So another big change in the championship situation as we come back to our top two, Bycroft and Rinna, now even closer, 3/10 back from Steve. The number 13 getting bigger and bigger in the mirrors. Let's see if he can get the launch off of Paddock Corner.
Yeah, Rinne not quite close enough there. He turned in a little bit too early to last corner to really have a great run, but he's charging here. He doesn't care about the dirty air. He doesn't care about losing a bit of time in those fast corners. He's hungry, and I like it. I really like how he's coming into this series, not bowing down to anyone, not being dirty and Millward.
Millward just had it off. We saw a glance of it on screen, and that was as he was challenging Gernot Friesche. He had a great run in him. I thought he was going to be able to get this. He's forced to the outside. Sometimes you can make that work around here, especially how late he braked, but it was too late, and he ducks wheels off into the dirt. He doesn't hit anybody, but it sends him down to 6th.
Yeah, and he's now behind a whole battle group of cars. You got Alex Milward, he's behind Gernot, he's behind Pauli, and he's behind Juan Costa as well. He's gonna need to make his way through all those guys as Bauman and Hall continue to challenge him, as well as Rosimas. So it's a very difficult position for Alex Milward, and we've seen Alex crumbling to those mistakes earlier on. Remember one race Bathurst where Alex went down and down the field and started going really aggressive. I hope that doesn't happen today, and it's a real maturing opportunity for Alex Milward here to be patient and be consistent and not try too hard after a mistake.
It's getting fascinating here for our lead because it continues to close in between Oscar and Steve. But remember I mentioned at the start of the broadcast, it seemed like Steve had very good straight line speed. And I wonder if that may prevent Oscar from getting any good chances to try and overtake. I wonder once we get back onto the front stretch if we could get a speed comparison between the two cars and see if he's got that advantage. Look at how close he gets here through the twisty bits. And then they come off. This is where the pace starts to pick up, coming down towards the final corner. And then the longest straight, heading past the pits down towards the opening hairpin.
Yeah, and I like Bycroft's line to the last corner. I said he missed the apex earlier. He's actually just taking the wider line, avoiding the bumps. And you can see here, they're doing pretty much exactly the same speed despite Rinne having the drop. So I think you're right. And I think Rinne's best opportunity now is just nail it on the technical sector. Try to get a good exit out of 3 because that's where he's being really fast. And then head into 4 and try to catch Steve Bycroft with his pants down. Unless Steve makes a mistake, I think in the 5 will actually be his best opportunity.
A change for P4. Juan Costa managed to sneak up the inside of Partanen down into turn 1. A nice move by the number 20 to give him a shot at potentially a in here. Let's take another look at how that one happened. It was aggressive, but it was fair. They may have banged wheels a little bit as well. Watch this. Side by side. That's Costa to the inside and the dark blue and white machine.
Yeah, he's behind on the braking zone. He's braking later and just coming to the inside. And yeah, that was a fair move. And he stick to his line on the track, going just a bit wide, but nothing too much. So great move by Juan Costa and a really brave move as well to go that late on the brakes and force the move on Pauli Partanen.
How we saw Jamie Hall fall back a little bit in the opening corner just because of him getting involved with Tomas Simon. Well, he's trying to come back through the field. He's in 8th right now, and he's kind of stuck in the midst of a battle, but he's sandwiched between Rosimas and Bauman currently, who are in 5th and 7th respectively. They're also trying to chase down Alex Milward just in front of them.
Yeah, so it's a difficult position for Jamie Hall to try and make positions because Chris Bauman makes a bit of a mistake because he has to do them one by one. And usually in a cock, you can't afford to brake too late because you're going to brake right into the back of the next guy. But he can isolate here. He can isolate Bauman first. and that's what he's doing. He's isolating Bauman and then trying to work Bauman into a position where Chris doesn't have to draft and Jamie will have to draft, and then he will have to overtake a little bit easier for him. The trouble is, it's difficult to overtake here, so he's going to have to do it one by one, and he's going to have to work each one over the course of multiple laps here, as he has to defend from Rasimas.
Horrible exit through Paddock Bend, and as they come up to the hairpin, Rasimas around the outside. Can he find the grip out there? Oh, he might. He's keeping it side by side. It's going to give him the inside up into wagon wheel, which we've seen is not a guarantee here today. Deep on the brakes. He's going to chop him off. Brave stuff from Jamie Hall to defend.
Yeah, Jamie knew he was able to brake later on the outside, but good job by Rasimas for keeping the outside through turn number 1. By no means an easy task, because you get a high curb there and there is absolutely no grip right to the outside of the track, so he stayed just within his limits and then was able to keep the fight going into 3. However, nothing doing there, and Jamie was cutting him off with the kind of decisiveness that says, no, you're not gonna pass me, I'm gonna catch up to Chris and I'm gonna be the one making the charge here.
I don't need a replay of it, but I can tell you is we had a single car incident with Pekka Kalahara spinning out of wagon wheel, and he has since had to take a tow back to pit lane. That is amazingly only our 3rd DNF today. Simone, Engstrom, and Kalahara, and honestly, Engstrom was a DNS, if anything. It's on screen. We can see the battle for 10th place with Rasimas challenging Jamie Hall still.
Oh, 10th place. That's Martin Gromberg challenging Thomas Thorpe.
Yes, exactly. Sorry. That is Villeneuve behind them as well. And they come up towards yard sale, the very fast kinked entry down into here. Not going to offer up any opportunities as the Renault gets very big in our gearbox camera.
Yeah, so Thomas Thorpe still staying ahead. Thorpe and Gromberg being the couple of Scandinavian drivers who've been in these positions all the way throughout the season. I remember Thorpe getting closer to top 5 positions last season, but since then there's been a couple of new names and they've been shuffling Thorpe down the order. So Thorpe, Gromberg, Carl Villeneuve as well. And Carl Villeneuve, he's driving one of his best races in recent memory. He's up in 12th and challenging these guys.
Come down towards the hairpin one more time. Villeneuve looking pretty fast in a straight line himself. As he gains. Then they have to get on the binders. He isn't close enough to attack. Brandberg, in the meantime, looks very strong, slowing the car up. Got right underneath Torp's rear wing, but couldn't get the exit that he wanted.
No, he couldn't, and as a result, these 3 will continue battling. And next up the road from them, we got another couple of guys. No need to go to them, but Tapani and Eetu are actually having a bit of a battle of the things behind them, 13 and 14. That might get interesting soon enough. Eetu Vainiokangas, he started 25th, is now all the way up to 14th place.
Impressive. And that was with a legitimate qualifying from Eetu. So, yeah, he's certainly doing well with race pace, especially on a track like we keep saying, where it's so hard to overtake. I wonder how much of that is actual overtakes and how much is just keeping it clean.
Yeah, it could be a little bit of both. And Eetu said before the race that he hasn't had a chance to practice since Tuesday. And he is new to the series, so he needs more practice than the regular guys. So Eetu's been certainly waking up over the course of this race, but not gonna challenge for top 5s in this race. However, he has a great chance to battle with Tapani, who is a Lotus 79 veteran and a 3-time CDC champion as well, Tapani Linnaluoto. So it's a battle of the old guard versus the new breed, Tapani, who turned 38 years old last week. Congratulations.
Nice. So Tapani obviously experienced a little bit of pressure. Now, am I understanding correctly that Eetu's nickname is Fruity? Is that correct?
Yeah, Fruitti with a Finnish pronunciation, but yeah, Fruity, he streams on Twitch.
Gotcha. Okay, that explains it. I was wondering about that. Getting up close here, but we'll have to duck away because 5th is looking strong, and don't need to go to it, but Freakton Kata and I think Nacho Gaspar had a big issue at the back of the field. It's like they went off course and got some damage. Meanwhile, down to the inside, Alex Millward on Partanen. Tries to keep from running into him. Partanen's going to give him just enough room. And wow, what a great line from that red and white number 22. He's well ahead by the time they hit wagon wheel. Oh, too far outside. Alex Millward has overdone it. Everybody has to scatter to avoid him.
and he's gonna come back on track right in front of Thomas Torp. They're gonna avoid him. Granberg's gonna have an opportunity here. Stick with those guys, stick with Granberg and Torp, because those guys are gonna be very close heading into turn number 5. However, Torp fends him off. It caused all sorts of chaos with that spin from Alex Milward, and I must say, he did that all by himself.
He was trying very hard to work his way the long way around again. It worked so well multiple times. If we could get an onboard replay of Chris Baumann having to take avoiding action on that, he did a phenomenal job. Of course, he unfortunately then had a little bit of contact with Jamie Hall immediately after. This is on board with Baumann. It happens in Wagon Wheel. There's the battle. He can see it starting to erupt in front of him. That's the red flag right there. Not a literal one, but certainly there's warning signals going off in his mind at this point. And then suddenly, oh boy.
Yeah, finding just enough space, and he was so committed to it as well. And here we see a replay of that one from Baumann as well, having to fend off Jamie Hall later on, doing a good job of that one and retaining his position. So that's Costa, Partanen, Baumann, Hall now all in those positions. And I think you'll find, by the way, that the flag going off in his head is maybe a yellow one.
Good point. So as they come out of turn 9 up towards the last corner, Baumann finding himself a little bit... Oh, Baumann getting a big slide off the final corner, actually. I was going to say he's getting a little bit of a gap to Hall, but if he keeps that up, he's going to lose that buffer.
And Jamie Hall's gonna see that, and he's gonna get a bit of a confidence boost. You always do get a little bit of a confidence boost when you see the guy in front of you, and you're wondering, oh, he's getting 1/10 faster lap times, 2/10 faster lap times. Can you see, oh, he's right on the limit. So that's his limit, and if I can stick with him, that means I'm gonna be faster.
These three are starting to split apart a little bit. We mentioned Torp, Granberg, and Villeneuve. Well, now add Milward to that equation, and those four very, very close together as they hit turn 5. Look at them accordion down as the gaps become almost nothing. Milward has to have the red mist at this point. He's got to be kicking himself, and just look at his driving. The car is now sliding all over.
Yeah, you add Mike Rasimas in the mix and your chances to go down. But Baumann, Jamie Hall, and Mike Rasimas now in this battle. And Rasimas, he's been looking consistent as always. He seems to always be the consistent force and seldom making single car mistakes and always capitalizing close from the others. He's got great pace too, so he's the kind of guy I would want in my team, just to bring in the points week in, week out, being great at the championship, and now in the back of Jamie Hall. So, you know, Jamie has to be aware of that. And he was aware of that early on as well. He can't quite focus on the battle with Baumann, because once he makes a miscalculated pass, Rasimas is going to be right there as we look further back to Torp, Granberg, Villeneuve, and Milward.
Still in this fight for Q9. Once again, nobody able to do anything down into turn 5. This is where last lap I was just mouth open at watching Milward get all over the track. Let's see if he's a little steadier there at the back of the train as we watch these four. No, he's still just sliding around.
Yeah. So onto the main straight you come, and in front of them, Granberg is getting great runs all the time of Thomas Torp. You're gonna see them come side by side right now. You're gonna see the yellow car getting to the left side of the track and run the outside into turn number 1. Can he pull it off? He's braking very late. Is he braking too late? Yes, he is, but just stays on track side by side still between those guys. And once again, heading into turn 3.
Scandinavian drivers not giving up. But what's he going to be able to do? Can he brake deep enough? Oh, not quite. Still holding him off. Thomas Torp denying him. Are we going to go 3 wide? No. He backs out of it. Oh, they almost come together, trying to break for the corner. Oh, he loses it again. This time he's done for good.
Well, that was a great movie, and it ended with a Scandinavian flick. However, Milward gonna end up on the wall. Wow, that was insane. So Alex Milward, he's gonna follow him through. He's gonna try to go opportunistic here on Villeneuve. Went too wide, lost it on the grass, hit the front of Villeneuve, and bang into the wall. That was hard. So both of our championship leaders are now classified down, ass, and out.
Okay, so here's the wild thing. Vascalampi didn't show up today either. He sits in 3rd. So who does this help? Gernot Friesche, 3rd place right now, 4th in the championship, and he's going to take a whole haul of points.
He's going to be laughing all the way to the bank as we're watching Bauman, Jamie Hall, and Michael Dimas go at it. So those guys now 6th, 7th, and 8th as they've been pretty much all race long, and Hall just cannot find a way through. And look at that Williams once again. Jamie Hall oh, that's a great exit. He's going for the crossover again, side by side through here, and Jamie Hall makes it through. Roll that one, Sean. Roll that one. That's the overtake of the season so far for me. No doubt. That was so great executed.
Absolutely snookered him. It's not over yet. Bauman almost overtaken by Rasimas. In fact, he's got a good exit, and he closed on Hall, but couldn't quite execute. Oh, it's another one. Hall looking like he's lacking straight line speed. Here comes Bauman once again around the outside, and he doesn't even have to outbrake him. He is fully beyond by the time they hit the hairpin. Deep into the corner from Hall, doesn't produce anything.
No, and he hit the curb on the inside as well, gonna slide wide on the outside, and Mike Rasima's gonna have a chance coming into turn number 3. Look at the outside, is he gonna look to the inside? No, he's not. He knows he can probably get Jamie Hall on a straight line. Hall really struggling. I was about to say before he went to that overtake, those Williams cars are looking mighty slippery today. Not only Alex Milward, but Jamie Hall as well, and that's gotta be so exhausting to drive.
Whatever they did for this setup, it just doesn't seem to be working. The temperatures haven't gone down. It's still 114 degrees Fahrenheit, so maybe they did not anticipate the temperatures. And Hall sliding once again out of turn 9. Rasimas closing in, pokes his nose, coming up into the final corner. This one's hard, side by side, and Rasimas knows it. He backs out. He knows he's going to have better top-end speed here on the front straight. Oh, a little bit of help from Bauman, though.
Yeah, just look at the way Hall is driving. He's all over the track. He's hitting the grass on the main straight. He's absolutely late on the brakes. He's overheating his tires, and he doesn't care. He's just in the mix, and I think he's had the redness descend upon him in this battle because he knows he potentially has the pace to catch up to the Friche Costa Partanen, Costa and Partanen duo, but he can't get past Chris Bauman. Bauman's just been a consistent rock right in front of him, and he's been so close. That's gonna be too late. No, it's not. What the absolute almighty Jamie Hall.
Yeah. Oh, wow. That's twice now in places that it's rare to see passes like that work. He's really taken advantage of it. The problem is he keeps handing it back here on the high-speed portions. And this is great, but I'm keeping half an eye on our leaders who have closed in with one another. Other teammates almost hitting each other as now we switch over to Rinne and Bycroft as Oscar actually took a look down into turn 1.
Yeah, he did, and he's right behind Steve Bycroft now. This is heating up too. Meanwhile, no need to go to it. I can report that Chris Bauman did indeed get back past Jamie Hall on the straight, and they're going to go side by side once again. I think we should switch back to that battle because it's been a constant force. It's side by side. Jamie Hall on the outside. Chris Bauman to the inside. He's going to defend it once again. Is Hall going to make another move? He's going to go way sideways. They're going to hit. They touch. Hall's off, and he's back again. Wow.
It from getting worse, but he lost a lot of time. And how much damage did he get from that contact is the question. Is these two Tolmans, my goodness, Rasimas and Chris Bauman, even though they're teammates, they certainly are not giving each other any quarter either. I feel like there's too many monkeys jumping on the bed here. We're going to see some tears eventually with this. Whoa, yeah. And Bauman almost loses it now.
Yeah, those Turtles are going side by side. The Candid Turtle teammates, Chris Bauman and Mike Rasimas. No team orders there. It's the Swiss man versus the American, and Mike Rasimas is all over the back of Bauman. He's gonna get through here. Jamie Hall is gonna follow. He's gonna follow Rasimas on the inside, get a draft of him. Let's see if he can do anything into turn number 1. Late braking move maybe coming from Hall. I'm gonna call it now. He's gonna do it. No, he's getting to the inside, and he's gonna get alongside Bauman. So he's gonna try, but Bauman fends him off, and Rasimas now up to 6th. Bauman 7th. Jamie Hall still in 8th place, and Jamie Hall, he's going to be looking for an opportunity here as Bauman once again goes very sideways indeed. This is not D1, this is not initial drift, but Chris Bauman, he's going to certainly make it look that way. And that car is handling in a way that doesn't remind me of Swiss neutrality by any means. That's Swiss oversteer.
And the amazing thing is that we're just barely past half in this race. All right, finally going to calm down, it seems, for a moment. So let's go back to our leaders. Rinne still chasing Bycroft. He's backed off a little bit. It was at 2 to 3 tenths for a number of laps here. But you have to wonder, is Oscar also seeing what I mentioned earlier in this race? Is his setup maybe better suited for the end than the beginning?
Could be that way. It could be that he's a little bit faster than Bycroft on pure raw pace here on race pace, and Bycroft is biding his time. He's in the lead, mind you, so Bycroft not having any troubles. He's been very consistent. I think Rinne is driving a little bit closer to his limit than Bycroft is right now, and Steve is just gonna bide his time and wait, because really he's gotten alongside once, has Oscar Rinne, but Oscar is all the time behind him. And the thing with Steve Bycroft is that he's got such a great racing nerve, he's got such a great racecraft, he seldom makes mistakes, and he just doesn't let anything bother him at all. So it's gonna be a very difficult for Oscar Rinne.
They said it was going to come to tears, and it did. Hall and I think Bauman finally in contact, and it was in the back half of the course.
So he's gonna come to the inside here, and just Hall braking a little bit too late and hitting the rear wheel of Chris Bauman. That's a bit of a silly mistake from Jamie Hall, but it happens so easily when you're driving so close, and that's such a crying shame, because it was such a great battle, and I hate to see it come to an end that way. I expected it to be, if it's gonna come to an end, I expected them both to be flipping off into a giant explosion somehow. Not that way.
It kind of petered out, and meanwhile Jamie Hall is not giving up. He is able to keep going. Bauman, though, had to take a tow. Carl Villeneuve is now the one that Hall is bringing a bit of headache to. He's going to have the inside. Usually he's the other side here, and this time he backs out of it as Villeneuve takes the racing line and retains 11th place.
He has, so Villeneuve actually passing Jamie Hall there on the inside, getting all the way up to 11th, and it's going to be Uwe Trengeride next, and Jamie Hall and Uwe Trengeride, I think that might be a bit of a battle of the drifters there.
Earlier on in this race, I said that we only had 3 DNFs. You would expect the early part of this race to be more messy with everybody clumped together, but instead, as things have gone on, more and more have fallen away. Bauman, Millward, Tenkate, Gaspar, all have since retired since I last mentioned. Another big slide off of the final turn from Jamie Hall, and here it comes Uwe Trengeride. Here's another guy that loves to drive it sideways, but he's looking very fast in the straight line, and he's got the inside. Can he finish it off? He's going to hold on to it. Jamie Hall, he almost loses it actually, and has to give up the ghost.
Yeah, Jamie Hall's got a damage on the rear part of that car in the front wing as well as a result of that contact, so he can't really fight anymore. And meanwhile, back in the lead, here you see Bycroft in his ADS, gonna be challenged by Oscar Rinne in his Brabham. Historically, Brabham was the faster car, but that ADS can surf fly, and Oscar Rinne goes fastest of the race with a 101.8. That's 0.005 of a second faster than Bycroft in the lead, so they've been very consistent, and they've been here all throughout the day. But yeah, Rinne has the initiative now. He has to do the challenge, and Bycroft, all he's doing is biding his time and keeping his line consistent. Gonna be very difficult for Oscar Rinne, and a real maturing moment for the young driver as well to try and solve this puzzle.
Ben, honestly, is going to get another bonus point from that. That's 2 extra points to get the fastest lap, as more drivers finding this tarmac not providing enough grip. Loses a little ground through the back half of the course. Keeps it at about half a second, though, so Bycroft can't relax quite yet.
No, he can't, but he is, as I said multiple times before, he's not looking overly stressed. You can see usually in the body language, or I should say the car language of the driver, how stressed out he is. He's not making any defensive moves. He's not really driving over the limit. He's using the same line he's been using all day long, and you can see Rinne behind him just waiting for that mistake, really, because that's what he needs. He needs a mistake from Steve Bycroft. Either he needs to initiate that, or, and Bycroft going a little bit wide there, so, maybe it's coming now, and that's going to give Rinne another splash of confidence, and he's going to get immediately closer.
Ooh, very, very close here, down into yard sale. Now swinging it through the carousel, and he almost has to check up, it seems, as he's very quick through this portion, but not much of a way of trying to overtake, even though we've seen it once or twice already with a few other cars. This is important to Bycroft, too. He has yet to take a victory this season in the Sunday Grand Prix Series. Rinne has, though. In fact, it was a reverse order at the Nürburgring. Bycroft finished second, with Oscar taking the victory.
Yeah, and you can see on the last corner, as we saw on board of Rinneter, he was once again turning in a little bit too early. He was clipping that curb on the inside. That's such a tiny mistake, but he's just 10 centimeters too far to the right. But he needs to find the confidence to turn in later, because when you are in the draft of another car show, it's very enticing to turn in earlier because you're gonna suffer from the understeer. But the thing is, he's turning in too early and he's screwing up his exit because that curb is gonna bounce him, so to speak, on a wider line, and he can't put his throttle down. He can't put his foot down as early as possible, and he's once again catching up in the technical sector. But you can't easily overtake here, not when Bycroft's taking the middle line. And once again, Bycroft's gonna take a tighter line through here. Rinne's gonna get a better exit, but the last corner is where it counts. Can Rinne take a better exit now?
With it, staying with it. Doesn't show his nose, looking for the exit out of here, like you mentioned. It's not that great though.
Yeah, once again he hit the curb on the inside, so he can't find the right line, and it takes a tremendous amount of commitment to actually commit to the racing line and, you know, be brave enough to take the wide line, because you can easily miss the apex and you're going to lose even more time. But Rinne, he can't get through on the main straight if he can't nail that exit. So that's part of the puzzle he has to solve, and now he has options. Either he focuses, realizes what I was just saying, and takes a wider line, tries that wider line in the last corner, or he does it on the infield technical sector.
Over to the battle for ninth place as Etu being chased by Lina Luoto. Don't need to go to a replay of it, but we had a Williams spinning again as Hall had another off and is actually close to being lapped at this point. Meanwhile, through wagon wheel, 2 fins. Going to try and settle this one out. How many fins do we actually have here today? Because it almost seems like this series is being taken over.
5 fins out there, 6 fins because Kelahara retired. But yeah, we have Tapani Linnaluoto, we have Severi Seppä, we have Oskari Rinne, Eetu Vainiokangas, Pekka Kelahara, and Pauli Partanen as well representing Finland in this series. And gonna be a couple of more during the fall if everything goes as planned.
Goodness. So going to be very tough competition. This one looking like it is slowed down, so we're going to check back in on our leaders instead. Now, interesting to note, though we aren't seeing much of it, maybe in wide shots. Here, let's watch there. You can see in the background, that's Frisha. He's still within 2.5 seconds of these top 2. Now, he's obviously he's not threatening right now, but you have to wonder if those 2 start fighting, that could make a big problem for them because Gernot could so easily catch up.
Yeah, and you're gonna see a lap comparison of Gernot Fritsch versus Steve Bycroft there. Bycroft's been a little bit faster unless he's been battling, and that's when Gernot has been really reeling it in. And look at that consistency by Gernot Fritsch. And once again, 102.2. He's been all within a couple of tenths of a second last few laps. And now, Rinne is not close enough to challenge Bycroft, but once he is, those 3 seconds could come down real quick.
A place as tight as this where you're going to lose time, hand over fist, going side by side anywhere around this track. Oscar, we couldn't see it on that shot, but he went a little bit wide at yard sale. And I'm seeing a lot of marbles offline right now, so I'm wondering how much of a worry it is, unfortunately, getting offline like that.
It is a bit of a worry, yeah. You're going to feel it on the grip, and once again, Oskari just getting a little bit loose. He's trying to having to make adjustments mid-corner, and you never want to do that. However, he's nailing that last corner a little bit better now. He's not as close, unfortunately, but he's nailing that a little bit better now. And he's gonna adjust his car to try and make it maybe come back to life later on in this race. So making anti-roll bar adjustments, trying to maybe cool his tires down a little bit. And once again, sliding a bit out of turn number 1, so he's suffering the effects of late race. And tire wear, that's normally an issue, but we got 45 degrees Celsius track still, and that's very hot for these cars, especially when you run right behind another driver for close to 3/4 of an hour.
Good news, bad news situation for Rinne because it's only 7 laps to go, so he won't have to suffer on those tires for too much longer, but that also means fewer opportunities to try and overtake for the lead Also, let's not forget the battle for fourth just outside of the podium. Costa and Partanen have, well, I guess they really have never left each other. They've been close all race, just haven't had a chance to check in on this battle because there have been so many good ones elsewhere.
Yeah, and I remember Partanen from Nürburgring, and I remember Partanen from other circuits being not as aggressive of a driver, really going for those overtakes. He'll be happy to finish in top 5. He'll be happy to stay there, but Juan Costa still has to feel the pressure because Partanen's been all day long. He's been there, and he's been pushing him, really. So Juan Costa, we've seen him make a couple of mistakes in the past, unfortunately. Once again, going a little bit wide in turn number 1, Partanen's gonna stick behind him, and that's one we have to keep an eye out for. And I think this could be a one where either Partanen stays behind or Juan Costa makes a mistake. I don't see Partanen risking it for an overtaking move this late into the race.
Top of your screen, you may have seen that Bycroft took the fastest lap back from Rinne. Again, that's 2 bonus points. That could be important in the championship, though Bycroft is a little bit down in the order this late in the season. He has been making charge.
And meanwhile, up in the lead, Rinne has managed to nail the last corner once again.
Tenths behind, though. I don't think he's quite close enough. Bycroft, once again, with that great top-end speed, has had a master stroke. He didn't qualify on the pole, which he's not going to get the bonus point for that. But once he's gotten up to the front here, it seems like it's been in his control.
Yeah, it has been in his control. He's been controlling the race from the front, employing the Jackie Stewart strategy of the race, where you take an aggressive start, take a good start, take an aggressive first lap, use the second lap to adjust yourself a little bit. And meanwhile, and Gernot's off in third place. And he's back again. But he's gonna be losing a lot of time, and that's a replay of that one. Just managed to catch it. So he's gonna come into 4 and 10 into 5 and make a mistake here and just, getting too late on the brakes. Yeah, he locked up his brakes and went wide, and that's an unusual mistake from Gernot Fritzsche.
Did a great job managing it, though. You could see that he went off, lost maybe a couple seconds, maybe about 4 seconds it looks like, and it wasn't too bad for him. Boy, everything is kicking off here at the end. The battle for fourth, Fritzsche going off, and still our battle for the lead, which is now down to 0.2 of a second. And Partanen and Costa are side by side again. They were this way last lap. We didn't get to cover it, but now we get another look at it. And to the outside, coming up to wagon wheel, that is going to be Costa. Partanen to the inside. Oh, with a big wiggle, he still manages to take it.
Wow, that's a great move, and let's go back to the leaders because they were side by side momentarily too. So Partanen makes the move, and Rinne was challenging Bycroft out of 5th into the carousel, and Rinne's gonna be close in the last corner once again, Joe. And let's see, and once again he turns in too early. Stop doing that, Oskari. I told you not to do that. Arrgh!
And this time, though, it really cost him. You could see how sideways that car was hitting, and he had to really chase it up the hill. Meanwhile, did we have a problem between Costa and Partanen? Oh, Costa had an off. This was just all on his own in yard sale.
Yeah, we're gonna see the battle here, and Partanen's gonna hold him off into 3, which he's gonna try to the outside. And then if we jump on board with Juan Costa, I hope we can, you're gonna see him, here we go. He's gonna come into 4, look for a chance, and just, go a little bit awkward on the brakes, really, and lose it on the exit. So I think he was sliding it too far on the entry, and then he lost it on the exit of the corner, trying to turn in a little bit too tight, getting off the line, because there is a little bit of concrete patch there. And once you get to the outside of that, the grip difference is so that the outside wheel is going to have more grip than the inside wheel, and you can spin out really easily.
Gonna get another try before the laps run out, because we are now down to 2 to go as they go by the lapped car of Jamie Hall. In fact, the only car I think that's going to be lapped, amazingly. I would have thought we'd have way more lap cars in such a short lap, but everybody else seems to have wrecked out. Meanwhile, Rinne is about 0.7 behind. That mistake out of the final corner has proven incredibly costly.
Yeah, it has. He had his best chance, but he was just turning in too early once again, and way early, and that curb bounced him on the wrong line, but he's catching once again. He's catching hand over fist on this lap, especially on the technical sector. And he has a chance in the last lap if he can time it right, but he can't afford any more mistakes. And really, Steve is slowing down. Steve was really slow in the penultimate corner, had to catch it and correct it. And into the last corner, he's not gonna do it in turn number 1. I don't think he's gonna be close enough, but look out into 5 and 6.
I'm looking, I think the fastest lap right now goes to Freesia for the bonus point, so that would certainly help him. Nope, and that changes just now as Oscar Arena on the penultimate lap rather, takes that one away. You're right, he is pushing hard to try and get this one close enough, but this might be too little too late from here on out. There's very few passing opportunities.
Oh, Mycroft made a mistake.
Oh, he's gonna send it. You know he's gonna send it down into turn 5. Bycroft covers him off and they come together. Bycroft trying to hold on to the car. He does. Oscar lifts a little bit. He's not gonna pass him with that move, but he sticks with it. Is he gonna try it again? He might get one more shot at it here at the end of the lap as they come off of turn 9. If he can get a good enough run, it doesn't look like it's gonna be there. All Bycroft has to do from here is just hold on to the lead through the final corner. Not the best of exits, but it's going to be good enough. Bycroft finally takes his first win of the season.
Wow, that was great gentleman action from Oscar Linne. He didn't want to take the win that way. He didn't want to punt Bycroft wide. He wanted it fair. He had no chance. Someone else has done that in a broadcast race in the past as well, and that's a great showing from Oscar Linne. Meanwhile, Linnaluoto and Torp are coming side by side into the last corner for 9th place. So Torp is going to be on the outside, Linnaluoto going to take it on the inside, but Tapan is going to slide, and Torp is going to come back on the outside and take the 9th place away from the 3-time champion.
He's got to feel great about that one. So 9th for Torp, 10th for Linnaluoto. Behind them, looks like most of the battles are pretty much petering out. Freckleton, Roveld, and Trangrade look like they're going to come home in a line. So with that, we're going to take a quick break here on the Global Sim Racing Channel. We'll come back with the official results as well as driver interviews. Stick around because on screen you'll see all the upcoming races here on GSRC. welcome back to Summit Point Raceway. We had 18 finishers out of 26 starters, but it wasn't the bloodbath you would think. In fact, it was nonstop action and great action out on track, even for our leaders, as Steve Bycroft wins by just over a tenth over Oskari Rinne, and they switch places from the Nürburgring races. And it's Gernot Friesche who probably takes the best out of this race in terms of the championship. He was on the pole and he gets the bonus points for that. He only finishes third, but all of his rivals fell by the wayside. So it's some consolation, even though he didn't take the win. Pauli Partonen finishes fourth, with Juanmi Costa going from 10th to 5th. A good climb from him and an intense fight all race long with Partonen. Mike Rasimas finishes in 6th, with Martin Granberg finishing 7th. How about Eetu, though? From 25th in qualifying to 8th in the race. Torp, incredibly, goes from 9th to 9th. Probably the only person finished where he started today. Linner Luoto rounds out the top 10.
Does indeed. Carl Villeneuve 11th. One of the best races he's done all season. Severi Seppa finishing 12th. Dion Freckleton 13th. Derek Rollwell 14th, ahead of Uwe Trengright, Barry West, and Paul Williams. Jamie Hall gonna finish one lap down 18th, and last driver to finish this race as well. And list of retirements: Chris Baumann, Timothy Reed, Alex Milward, Nacho Gaspar, Freek Tenkade, Pekka Kelahara, Tamas Shimon, and Giddy Engström. All those drivers classified as D and F, including your 2 championship leaders.
We have Barry West ready to talk to us here today. He finished 16th, so a little bit down the finishing order of drivers who actually saw the checkered flag. But Barry did start in 22nd and climbed upwards, so it was a positive gain. But Barry, apologies, we really didn't get to look at you a whole lot. There was so much action in front of you. Tell us about your race and what happened with you. For once, Barry is speechless. This is a first. Let's see if we can get Barry to cue up his mic here. Barry, do you have a copy? Well, looks like maybe he's got some technical problems, unfortunately, today. But again, Barry West finishing on the lead lap, which that in itself is a bit of an accomplishment at a very short 1 minute lap. Looks like, unfortunately, he's not going to get that one together. Incredibly, we don't have any of our podium here to talk to us quite yet. But I have to admit, I mean, we were talking during the break there, Ozzy, that this is perhaps one of the best races that we've seen in a while. And excuse me, it looks like we will have one of our finishers to talk to, because it looks like Gernot Friesche has now joined us, a third place from the pole. Normally, I would think that this would be incredibly disappointing for you, Gernot, but considering where all of your championships rivals went today, this has got to feel like a bit of a win.
Hi guys, probably it has to. I think I was quite lucky with the third place, because it was a huge race with some very good drivers, so high strength of field. I think I can be happy with third place. Pace was not much better than that.
Yeah, you got overtaken pretty much right into the first corner for the lead and settled into third. From there, it looked like you were gaining a little bit here and there, keeping both Oscar and Steve honest, but you had a little problem towards the end. What was going on? Was the car starting to go away?
No, not really. I think I had a little bit more downforce than the other guys, so that was the problem in the first 2 laps maybe. And the second half of the race, I was just doing qualifying laps, pushing like crazy to close the gap somehow, but wasn't able to. And finally made a mistake. I still thought maybe I could have a chance to go for the fastest lap, but that went to Oskari. So huge congrats to Steve and Oskari for a great race.
Try and see what this will do championship wise. I think you are at least going to move into third. You came in fourth in this race. I mean, what are your thoughts on the championship with these final few rounds? It seems like you're making inroads, even though it hasn't been the greatest of seasons for you.
No, it has not. Actually, I don't have high hopes for the championship, because I knew in advance that I would be missing some rounds. And the rounds before my holiday, I had some bad luck. So I had some rather bad finishes that season. So I don't think it will work out in the end. And Thomas is so crazy fast, and so are other guys. So it's really hard every single week.
He's been fast, but he's been a little bit mistake prone. So never say never. But even still, thanks for coming and talking to us, Gernot. Before you take off, anybody you want to thank today?
No, as usually, thanks to you guys for the broadcast. It's always a pleasure to watch the races, and of course the other drivers doing the series. We had a really good turnout today, much better than I thought it would be. So yeah, looking forward to the next couple of races. See you guys.
We look forward to them as well. That was Gernot Frischa, third place finisher here today. Bycroft and winner, probably too covered in sweat. Need to go take a shower, unfortunately, it seems, as we're going to close up and give a few thank yous of our own. First of all, to the Lotus 79 community for bringing us back for another season of broadcasting. And also, if you would like to broadcast with us, with your company on air, make sure and check out how you can advertise with us. We've got 1 million monthly impressions, more than that most months here, that you can get exposure for your company. Check out the description where we've got a link down below if you want to find out more information. A thank you goes to the companies that provide the software and the hardware for our broadcasts. They're listed here on your screen. And additional thanks go to June Lalonde, who provides our wonderful music. See the screen for how to get a hold of more of her great work. Thanks to the team today, Ozzy, Sean, and Dougie. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, including upcoming races, you can find it at globalsimracingchannel.com. Also, check out our social media. Our Twitter is at GSR Channel, Facebook, Global Sim Racing Channel, and Instagram is GSRC_Graham. If you'd like to support us, check out our merchandise store. We've just got a link down in the description below there as well. And while you're down there, if you haven't subscribed yet, why don't you do that? It's so easy to do. Just click the big red subscribe button and you won't miss a moment here on GSRC. The next race, if this one wasn't tough, the next one's going to be worse. It's going to be Detroit, Sunday, August 23rd at 12:30 p.m. Eastern. We have upcoming races for other series listed on the screen, so check them out and mark them down on your calendar. Up next, coming up at 2 p.m. Eastern, the Absolute Beginners League is going to Montreal. Another up north. The HyperX Summer Series is coming up next for us today. So that is going to be Milwaukee with the Lotus 49, or not the Lotus 49, the 4GT. I'm going to get one of my cars right these days. Until next time, though, let's take off while we still can. Race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.